a master class called The Essentials of Leadership, where I am going to talk and discuss with the audience about the main issues on leadership development. So at this moment, companies all around the globe are investing millions of euros in leadership development. But the question is how efficient is that investment? And then we are going to talk about the state-of-the-art ideas and tools that at this moment are leading the wave in academia, in practice, in research. And we are going to basically to focus on two issues. One is how important for people is to develop behavioral skills. That is, those abilities that may allow the people to interact with other people, and in that way, interacting with other people, become more creative, innovative, and more efficient. And the second idea we are going to talk a lot about that is about meaning. So we are going to talk today about how relevant for people is to have a mission in what they do. A mission for their career, a mission for their life. So it's very important for managers, for executives, for everyone, to know why they are doing what they are doing. So why, when they get up in the morning, they go to office. So it's the why of what they are doing. So if a person has a why, he can do whatsoever. So he can endure anyhow. So but you can endure anyhow if you have a why. So we are going to focus, the Essentials of Leadership is a master class where we display the two main topics on leadership development. One is why we do what we do, why we have to, and because we know the why, we can in somehow design our careers and our life. And on the other hand, we are to talk about how to behave with other people. So how to be good scout of other people. If you are going to be a manager, you would like to be a good scout of other people. You want to gather other people around and to manage them, to know how to align them to your objectives, to your mission, to your results. So this is a master class about the Essentials of Leadership that we are going to have today in the evening in Rio Business School. How many of you are managers? Just raise your hand. I mean, management doesn't mean that you have a big team of people, right? So you can have nobody, but you manage something. You manage a project, you manage an assignment, you manage a department, you manage a single person. So a lot of people, one I would say, I don't know, I am not good in math, but it could be something like 80% of the people here, 90% are managers. Now let me do a second question. How many of you are leaders? So 1, 2, good. 3, 4, 5, you did the same, 6. Okay. Let's start for the people and say I am not. What's your name? Vita. So you're a manager, right? Okay, but you're not leader, right?
Well, I don't dare to evaluate myself as it. I think leader, it's someone, it's an appointment from other side.
What does it mean? So there is an appointment. So
leader is, it's not something you can get by directions. Something you can get by respect and love for others.
What do you say? In the second part? Respect from others and trust.
Yes. Leadership, I think it's a fruit of good management.
Leadership is a fruit of good management. So it means that, Vita, you don't consider that people respect you, trust you, and you don't have good management.
I don't think so.
So someone of the who said yes? You said you are a leader, right?
Yes.
Where you are?
I'm full of different criteria. And for me, if you have followers.
You can come because here you have materials. Yeah, please.
If you have followers, followers to you. Then basically that's not really their criteria of leadership. If someone is following you without like strict managerial obligation to do so, then I would consider that as being a leader.
So you mean that a leader is a person that manages that other people do things that are outside their duties?
Not only, but included, yes. That would be my difference from between a manager and a leader.
So the ability to do makes people do extra mile. Let's put it in that way. Okay. A little bit, huh?
Yeah.
Not that. Which other difference we find between leaders and managers?
People follow the leader.
Sorry?
People follow leaders. So with ideas, with some discussions, after some discussion they have new ideas because it's leader who influence them to think openly.
So a leader is able to influence. To give ideas to inspire. And what about the manager that is not a leader?
You do something, you do it okay, you get your salary, that's it. But if you have to give an extra, you just refer to your job description and say, I don't have to do this.
So it's a bit more like a transactional relationship. Right? So you pay you pay here and then I give you your lesson and that's it. And then when you shake hands, and so there is a more relationship. Here is more like a transaction. Good. Which else? Who else doesn't you? Yeah.
Maybe managers about more planning, budgeting, and capable of doing what leaders is just opposite, like setting visions, storytelling, inspiring, examples.
Just the stuff that doesn't matter at 9 in the morning, right? So. Good. And in your view, that blah blah blah, is it positive or negative?
Because it's also very necessary that the followers, the employees, that they hear, that they catch this idea and follow.
So it's necessary some blah 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 in order to for other people.
Yes, I think it's main too. Setting this, like painting the future, changing the what should we do in different ways.
Should every manager become a leader?
I think every manager is some kind of leader. Just the question how his leadership skills are high or not high enough.
So it means that it's not a question of one of white and black, but it's a question of grades.
Yes, great. How each of us are we more manager or more a leader?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same person we're talking about.
Yeah.
Different approaches how you make things done.
Mm-hmm. You have in your binder, in your handout, you have a page where I am asking you that after you can reflect on that. So if you, in your close surroundings, in your environment, in the place where you work, or in your past, you did have some people that you identify like a leader. And now I am asking to you, is someone that come to your mind that for you has been your mentor, your leader, that you have followed or you follow today? Do you have someone? And I am not speaking about big men that we see in television. I am speaking about people close. So?
Parents.
Your parents.
I think it's the first leaders for every class, so parents.
Every parents, all parents are leaders.
Just some at the moment.
Sometimes.
Till 10 years, 50 years, they will call this church.
And afterwards, what happens?
Teacher, maybe in school.
Or maybe at some kind of age we're like switching and looking at them as the managers, not leaders.
Maybe it's there, right? So that till you are 10 years old, they are your managers. But afterwards, they might become your leaders, or you might forget about them in a sense. In a sense. Today is a sort of, this is not an emotional pitch. In leadership, a lot of the leadership staff and always the people that teach leadership use a lot of emotional pitch. So I use those, but this is not. So today would have been the birthday of my grandmother that passed away a couple of years ago. But it was with me living together for many, many years. And I still remember her, and today I was trying to remember what my grandmother would have told you. So no idea came to me. So, but anyway, so a person that parents could be managers till you are 10 years old. And if they have been good role models, they would have continuous leaders later on. Some other words that comes to your mind that is connected with leadership, and I haven't written there. When you think about leadership, something that can immediately to your mind.
People come to my mind.
People, why?
Because manager sits in his room during daytime, but leaders usually walk around and talk to people.
Talk to people, right? Talk to people. Excellent. Which else? What else?
Charismatic.
Charisma. Nice. Thank you. Put this forward. Okay. Okay, charisma. Which else comes to your mind?
Power.
Power.
Informal power and managerial power for a manager.
So here we can call you formal power. Here informal power. You may not know. So that authority, this word, so authority, it comes from a Latin word that means to make things foster, improve, auge in Latin. So this is so authority doesn't mean to conduct. Authority means to make things move forward. It's completely different. This is why he's pointing out to a topic that is, you can have formal authority, but you don't have real. You can be a professor and have your shares of a professor, but many people are not going to follow. Something else, some of you, any of you have an idea that you say, well, I mean, this what you have been said here is not true. This is the moment to say it.
Motivation behind doing.
And where do you put motivation?
It's in leader position anyway.
How a leader motivates and how a manager motivates. A manager doesn't motivate?
It's not really motivation, it's what is behind the person's idea, why he's doing something. If you consider manager, he's more in tasks, certain tasks he's doing. If he's leader, his motivation not only to manage tasks, but do something more great things, bigger things. Social things, more social orientation, and not only one company or one man or personal motivation. It's something more broad in leader way.
Manager can motivate with the money, giving you an extra percentage to the salary, but the leader definitely can motivate with the bigger ideas and things as previously was.
And money is not important?
It is, but some people can motivate me even without offering a salary increase, yeah, because they are great leaders anyway.
Okay, manager has to stick to more traditional perks. Right? Material. Let's call it material perks. Perks like salary, bonus, holidays, and all this stuff. And in this way, I make people do things. Leader can, with dreams, with bigger ideas, with a bit more. Okay. That's a good point. You remind me one issue now I wanted to say today, and all the time I say to the students in the MBAs, people come, you executives, come to business school for only one reason. So everything that you are taught here is that you can make better money where you are. So it doesn't matter if we here are going to talk about more philosophical issues or less philosophical issues. If everything, every hour you spend here, you think is not going to have an impact in your bottom line, we have to do something about that section, okay? Because every business schools exist with the single reason to make companies more profitable in the long run. And here is the difference. So I am not talking about these issues like leadership could have sometimes short-term impact, but usually do have more long-term impact. But if what you hear here in whatsoever session does not create value, and when I am talking about value, is that at the end of the day it's going to have an impact in the bank account of the company. We have to do something with that. Business schools are for make companies more profitable, more sustainable, and to make much more money. Because this is the main function of the company. And I will tell later why profit is important. Okay? That's an issue. Everyone agree with this?
I would still connect remark regarding blah 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 stuff.
Blah blah blah.
Budgeting.
What we do, what professors do, right? I mean, we live out of blah blah blah.
I'm now changing organization. The organization is going to change. And it doesn't work if you are doing only talking. So in order to make the change happen, you need to do both. You need to inspire people and give them a sense of direction, but still you need to reorganize the money flows. Otherwise, nothing changes.
Systems are very important.
Yeah.
That's the point, right? I mean, operation, structure. If everyone agree with that, and you know what is leadership, my next question is why you are here. To listen to me. But you see, I don't talk too much. I talk a little bit, right? So if I start talking, as I will tell you, if I have time, because we didn't move still from the first slide, as you have seen. So I am Argentinian. I was born and raised up in Argentina, but grew up in Argentina, but I am Italian. And we Italian, we like to talk, and we talk, and we talk. So if I just sit down and start talking to you, so I don't know what's going to happen. And also we lack disorder. We are extremely disordered. So you will see me that I open one bracket and I don't close it. And I open a new one and then a new one. So you have to be attentive to follow me. So you come to listen to me. But which has? If you know, I mean, companies know what is leadership and they are investing millions in leadership training. most of the leadership training is just bullshit, right? Sorry for them. So, why? Why? I mean, someone has to lead an explanation.
Because there are so many theories. What is the leader? What is how to become a leader? And for me, personally, reaching to get acquainted with another opinion.
So one more opinion. Where I'm not going to give my opinion. So that's because the master class, the idea of the master class of today is giving you some insights on which are the fundamentals of how the leading schools all around the world are building their leadership training today. I'm telling you that I haven't done any empirical research on this, but only 10% of the leadership training probably is done on this basis, and it's the most expensive one, unfortunately. Okay. But this is school, for example, in summer we are starting to run a course that is going to be based on this idea, but and later today at 8 p.m. you are going to listen another program that we are going to run for other audience, also based on this. So you think a new opinion, more. Why? With too much investment in leadership, what happens? So this picture, I think that I borrowed from a friend on Facebook, and that I started to use because I think it represents the problem of leadership. Leadership, on one hand, everybody knows what we are talking about. But on the other hand, we don't know how to handle this. On one hand, it's invisible. I mean, when we see this guy, this person has leadership traits, leadership skills. But it's difficult for us to describe that. And it's difficult for us even to see how he did that, or how she did that. This is why this image is there, because sometimes it's not easy to identify a leader just from the scratch, just looking at them from the outside. We need to talk to them. We need to talk to the people like these two fellows. No? From the outside, these are two old fellows. We can expect, in certain sense, very little from them. But if we talk to them, we will discover in them the young fellows that can dance, that can sing, the vitality that is invisible many times. So when we talk about leadership, we are talking about something soft. No. And I am using here one of the best speakers' statement, Daniel Goleman. Something soft with hard effects. Nobody knows what happens there, but everybody understands that something is going on there because we see that there are people that even they are in the same context, they have the same skills, they have more or less the same education, more or less the same resources, but one is successful and the other not. Something soft because it's difficult to touch, it's difficult to see, difficult to describe, it's difficult to quantify. And this is a key word here, quantify. When people come to a school, to any top business school like this one, what do we ask them? Do your GMAT. And this is good. It's very good that Riga Business School does that, because this is what leading school does. But what GMAT tells us? Very little. It only tells us it can help us to predict the success of the student in the first year in the MBA. Nothing else than that. What happens is that any sort of so-called IQ sort of test, intelligence test, any sort of intelligence test, help us to measure. We can quantify people, we can quantify their skill, and we feel safe with that. But it doesn't mean that this is the most important thing to everyone. So today, business schools, we understand that the largest part of the success depends not on technical skill, but on soft skills. And this is empirically tested. And in whatsoever research you just when you go back home and you make your Google search and you try to find in Harvard Business School or in whatsoever of the leading schools how much accounts in success in their graduates, the soft and leadership skills, you will see numbers up to 80%. 80. So we are talking about something really serious here. Why are you going to
It's
agree?
like science, you know? Science.
Sorry?
Science.
Mhm.
Science. And I mean, you go soft as you want, but there will be like rocket can be launched only by people who understand these things. So IQ is important. This intelligence, stuff is very important. Without that, you can't. And you build rockets, you need this kind of
You need the engineers, you need the people doing the...
Yes.
Do you know, have you seen the movie? I think it's written in this way, Apollo 13.
I think I have
Someone, have you seen that movie?
Tom Hanks?
Eh?
Tom Hanks?
Tom Hanks. Nice movie. What happened? Do you remember? This is real.
was some kind of...
They were stuck in space.
They were stuck in space. They went back, right?
But you see, there was the person, the person connected. Yes, he was a leader, but he connected. I mean, there was an intelligence as well there. You can't connect if you're not intelligent.
Yeah.
You can't connect.
Yeah.
How possibly you can be just on a soft spot? You need to be intelligent.
Yeah.
Right? You need to.
No. Intelligence is important. I am not saying that intelligence is not important, but I am saying that soft skill is at least as important as intelligence. At least. Okay? But let me finish with this story. Do you know what happened there?
In Apollo 13.
Yeah. They landed finally. So, but let me give you an example where leadership skills actually, they have a problem with the fan in the ship. In the spaceship, the root of the problem, the reason I am going to do a long story very short, I don't want to let more of the people, but in some moment the ship, the spaceship gets stuck in the space because they have a problem with a fan. They didn't know that. They learned about that later on when they did they investigated the problem. What happened is that in the NASA proceedings, they had changed the protocols and the different characteristics of certain elements of the fans, and they didn't communicate that to the provider properly. So, there was a problem of communication between the engineers of NASA and the providers of these elements that eventually caused the fan to stop, and the Navy couldn't get into the moon. Engineers are important, and there you see communication is very important. And if you watch the movie, it's fantastic. It's a leadership lesson. How to bring a Navy back, just managing a team to find in a creative way and an impossible solution. But you are right, intelligence is important. The problem is not if intelligence is important or not. The problem is that we have been forgetting about other issues.
We are just not, I think we are just, we are looking at intelligence in a very simple way. GMAT is, just mathematical skills.
Right.
It's not really, intelligence, like emotional intelligence.
This is not intelligence.
It is. It's intelligence. Emotional
It's
intelligence.
emotional intelligence, but it's on the other side. It's on the soft side of the thing.
Okay.
Let me give you. Let me go on one, and maybe it will be the point. It will be a little bit. So I will skip my. Well, you can look for that in other places. So who I am, I made my video. I am 35 years old. I did my MBA executive at the Stockholm School of Economics. But I did my bachelor in Argentina and my Ph.D. in Latvia, University of Latvia. And currently I am working, so here I joined this school in May. Though I am working already for quite a lot of projects. Okay. I will answer to your question, but I will start with this statement because this is a statement that now I am inserting in every single presentation with executives. Every act of conscious learning requires the willingness to suffer an injury to one's self-esteem. And today I ask you, if we know we are talking, what is leadership about? Why we are here? We are here because somehow we want to find our way. Somehow we want to find something. And I hope it's going to be very, the injury is going to happen. Because it means I just touched them. When I do leadership training, and when I have more time, much more time, when I do whole programs, whole seminars, I do what in the past, in the UK, and we hear one from UK after he can comment if I am true on this, but when the trains were arriving to the stations, there was one guy with a hammer testing the wheels of the train, if they were broken or not. No, they were just tuck, tuck, making them. And if they hear a strange sound, that wheel has to be changed. When I do leadership training, what I try is to cover every possibility of single issues in how to lead people and how to lead yourself. Like trying to remind you about basic ideas. And then in some way they will actually click. This is your point. This is what and every person feels. This is good for me. Now I go to your answer. This is an experiment. It was done between more than 40 pairs of twins in the United States. And let me do the example very simple. Let's say we have sister A and sister B, okay? Angie and Robbie, okay? And then we ask them, look, in 7 days, you come with a great idea for making business. That's it. That's your assignment. So in 7 days, you come here with a good idea. Each one of you with one of those. So then we have Angie, sister A, that she goes back home, she sits down on the desk, he makes some Google search, and he starts making drawings and making his imagination think, his intelligence works, trying to remember and look in the books, and she works on it. And we have sister B, that she also thinks, she also makes drawings, she also makes her imagination works, but she also starts talking to her parents about this. And then she comes to her parents and asks, what do you think about this? And then she goes and talks to her classmates. Hey, what do you think? I have this assignment, I start to think on this idea. And she goes to the store and evaluates, and try to look for some product that more or less is in her same sector, in the same area that she's thinking about. And she goes and makes a sort of a small prototype. We cannot expect much at this age, okay? But then she makes some prototype, and then goes to the neighbor and shows the prototype. What do you think about that? Would you buy that? Who do you think is going to come with the best idea? Who has the higher likelihood to come with a better idea? Sister B. If both have the same level of intelligence, both have the same level of education, both have been born the same day, from the same mother, same father as well. Okay? And then both have the same assignments. This is something called behavioral skills.
Actually, to answer the question, why also engineers need to have soft skills.
Do they?
Yeah, because you can be a #1 world scientist, but no one knows about it because you cannot raise investments for your research. You cannot, make another researchers, scientists to join your work, and at the end, no one will know that you're something invented.
You raised a
Communication.
yeah. At the end of the master class, we are going to see a very short video of this guy, Steve Jobs. He was not an engineer. He didn't even have higher education. Not at all. And when he died, it was the company that works the most in the world. And it was an engineering company. You cannot say, it was a consumer product, and we have a case on Steve Jobs. So that he was doing engineering stuff. And very hard engineering stuff. So this is the matter about behavioral skills. You have in your handouts one questionnaire. It's called, it doesn't have the name, sorry. It's called the leadership gap. It's this one. It has 2 pages. It says, here, for the people that came later, here you have the, It's called the leadership gap. And there you can see some attitudes. Take now 5 minutes, please. Only 5 minutes. And try to score yourself about this. Yeah, exactly. It says your team, but evaluate yourself. Don't evaluate your team, evaluate yourself. And it says, if you seek situation of stability or more of change, if you're focused more on continuity or improvement, take please 5 minutes to self-assess yourself. So this is when you're back home, and do your math, though you already can guess. If you get less than 3, more than 3. Okay. This is a pretty, very simple exercise, but with this you can more or less get a bit more understanding of what we are talking about. If we are higher than 3, we are closer to be more leaders, managers with leadership abilities. If we are less than 3, we are more managers than leaders. Okay. A leader is someone that is not afraid of uncertainty and change, that looks for improvement, that seeks personal influence, that is very good in dealing with ambiguity, that manage very well employee commitment. You can see there. But these are effects. These are these behavioral skills that we are talking about here. But it's not that, no, I like, and all the time I look for stability, but because yesterday in a session I heard that I have to, if I want to be a leader, I will seek situation of change. It will not happen overnight. It does not happen overnight. And this is a problem of most of leadership training. That when you go, they tell you, you have to look for change. You see, nothing is going to happen. Because the foundation of that is much more deep. And is enrolled, and we are talking in something that we call character. That is these stable traits that we have inside and we cannot build in one day, in one seminar, in one workshop. That it takes quite a while. So, regarding your question again, because your question is very important, intelligence matters. But given at the same level of intelligence, if you have this, you are an intelligent and good leader.
We are disagreeing still about the
What?
intelligence. What is intelligence?
No. Yeah.
What is intelligence?
What is intelligence?
Intelligence is being able to, think about change, yes?
Yeah.
Change, this is intelligence, not being stuck to stability and prosperity, this is intelligence, being change-oriented. I mean, society needs to be change-oriented, this is intelligence. This is, everyone should do that. It's not like managers or leaders, everyone should be change-oriented. This is kind of, in Latvia, for example, you need to be change-oriented. know, we need to.
Are we?
No, not at all. But we need to. We need to strive for it. You know, sometimes. And
You're talking about something that in the theory of leadership. For some people, we talk about various types of intelligence, and then we talk about emotional intelligence. We talk about social intelligence. We talk about, but this is when we are talking to more academic, and then we start emotional intelligence, and then so different kind of intelligence. I don't like to talk about that in terms of intelligence. I don't like to call it. I like to call it more skills. But I think we are talking about the same. We are just in a question of how to call it.
Yeah, we are just in definitions. You know?
Because you are saying the same that we need to look for things.
Yes.
And why, if we know that, we don't do it?
Because it's kind of problem. I believe that actually in people's mindset it's a little bit, it's built in like this.
In people? Or in
a human, you know, in a human it's a bit like built like this. Because, you know, change is also, you know...
So you think that it's not possible to make people...
No, it is possible, but there is some resistance.
Improve.
There is some resistance, you know, in mindset of the how human is.
And it's possible to overcome that resistance?
Yes, of course it's possible. Everything is possible.
So we are in everything then.
Sorry?
So we are in agreement.
Of course we are in agreement. I mean,
okay, this is why we are here. Because we see the problem, but we have to cross that. In English there is a word, they like, hustle. So this, and when in a great research that was done in the UK, they have studied entrepreneurs. And they have been thinking, why some smart people with the same level of intelligence, with the same level of resources, with the same infrastructure, they don't cross this. So it's like, this means that crossing something, it's like they stay here. And they don't get into that part where we have the outstanding entrepreneurs. And there we have the attitude to change, the attitude to actually go forward to our big dreams, to our big objectives. The question is how to make people cross this, how to make people build the leadership skills. And this is why we are here today, to give you some insights on what leadership is called. And I'm going to start with one, because we have very little time. This is just 2 hours. Okay? But I will go deeper in a couple of things. What do you see here? If someone has done this experiment before, don't speak. Is it a piece of art? I am going to count 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Someone guess? Someone? Come on, nothing happened. Nobody guess?
X-ray picture of lungs or something.
No one will speak.
Look back. Do you see now the cow?
Yeah.
Well, there are many things. I mean, I am not a psychiatrist, so I can explain very little about how the memory works. The basic understanding of this is that when we see something, then we get used to that, okay? And then the memory immediately connects, so the brain works in that way. But the learning points regarding our lesson today, when 80% of people of our age do this experiment, they always fail. They never see the cow. When you do it with kids, they see it. Why? Because our memory got used more to see the dark side of everything. In a way, we become sort of pessimistic. So this is why immediately what people do when they see this picture, they try to see the figure there, you know, and then so I see a only there, or see a, you know, I don't know, I didn't see whatsoever. This is to tell you that when we see people, and when we look at people, we immediately go into the dark part of the people. This is automatic. I mean, this is something, when I came here, you started to look at me and say, how is the tie that is using this guy? I mean, that doesn't fit my feet, so... Or you start to see my hair, and you started to judge, and then, I mean, you start to see, and to see things, and to evaluate things from the negative side, of the potential negative. I hope that is good, okay? But anyway, so you start to see things for the potential negative side. What creates in our relationship with people difficulties for something that is extremely important, that already has been rising here, that is called trust. If there is one issue, one element that is extremely important in every manager to become a leader, is called trust. Trust means, before everything, approval. As a manager, I tell you, in many ways, it's good that you are here. As a professor, I am telling you, it's good that you are here. As a husband to the wife, it's good that you exist. The other way. As a friend, it's good that you are. This is called approval. I approve. This is a basic element in any relationship, whatsoever relationship. I approve you. But it implies, first of all, it implies that I have to be able to see your good part, your good side. If I do that, then I can create, for me, it will be very easy to develop. And I am making this I am going very much to the core of the issue. It's very easy to develop what we have seen before, the behavioral skills. Why? Because I trust on the people. I am going to talk to the people if I trust them. If I don't trust them, I don't talk to them. I will get close to my heart. If I trust them, I am going to ask them. If I trust them, I am going to do them work. If I trust them, I am going to observe. And I am going to learn. And in that way, my intelligence will become wider. What is the main task of a business school professor? Make the people talk. This is a main task. I hope that you are talking. Why? Because you are people that know a lot, but they have to trust you. And when you see a lot of people, I mean, that is scared to delegation problems, or problems of creativity, problems of commitment, it's because there is lack of trust in the basic, in the very, very basic. And it implies approval. If it happens, and then I can develop behavioral skills, then, as a manager, I will be able to have 3 basic aptitudes with my subordinates. One is influence, the other is identity, and the other is intimacy. I will build the chemistry with my subordinates that it will create a critical mass. The critical mass to work together. When we talk about influence, we are talking that when I speak, they listen, and that they follow what I say, and they are able, but I mean, they believe me, they are going to believe me in what I am going to say. This is why it means I have influence. Typical attitude of the boss, of the manager, the first to talk in a meeting. Now we are going to say this. A good manager that is a leader is going to speak the last. In a meeting, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And then he builds his idea. Building over what the other people have been saying. And of course, the manager has a better perspective because he's in a position. But if the people see that they can influence on the manager point of view, they are going to continue talking to you and they are going to follow you much better. In a research that was done here in Latvia, I always go to I have one of the masters that I really love to teach it to the public servants, Latvian public servants. Already for 3 years I am doing this. And they always get surprised, but I have one of the research that was done back in 2007 about why public servants in Latvia have lack of motivation. It was 2007. It was a good time for Latvia. Let's see. That's a point. And one of the reasons is because they felt that they couldn't influence in any way in the accomplishment of the ministry's objectives. They were not listened to. Nobody was listening to them.
It's true.
It's true.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
You will not change that.
Don't comment. Thank you. Identity. What does it mean, identity? Identity means not that everybody is going to use the same church, though it happens, but that we are going to have the same values, that we are going to have the same frame of thought, that if I leave for holidays, I can close my eyes, because they are going to take decisions thinking on what I think and how I think. And I don't need to be calling them all the time on what you are doing. This is called identity. But identity is built when they see you on the front. I don't know here, but here no, people are extremely hard workers. But in Mediterranean countries or in South America, you have the typical manager goes for holiday 2 months and the other people only for 1 week. Nobody's going to get identity there. Nobody's going to feel identified with what. Okay? Intimacy, the small talk. Someone you said, talking to the people. If a manager has people in charge, what he is doing with a computer? He doesn't need to be with a computer. I mean, he, of course, every morning to check some emails, to answer some emails. He needs to be with the people. He needs to get results through people. This is the difference here. I am not going to do it myself. I do it through them. Do you agree with this? Raise the hand who agree or works according to this idea. Come on. You don't agree, but do you know managers that do not work according to this? Do you know who wrote this?
I think there's a Russian version for that. I'm not sure if that's a correct quote, but...
This is official English translation.
Yeah, but
Я говорю плохо по-русски.
I'm not sure if that's connection, but...
I hear this connection. Learning.
Yeah.
It would be nice if you know how to translate a bit more. This is the translation official, in English that you find.
Trust but check.
Trust by check.
But
Check.
Ah, that will be the
that's
translation.
what he said.
Ah,
So this is not.
so it's a bit softer, right?
I don't know.
It's
I
It's a good word. It's a good point.
It's different meaning actually.
That is harder.
Trust but check means that you always control.
Always control.
It's even.
It sounds good. Yeah, it sounds. Thank you. I will give you a very, because we are in a master class of the essentials of leadership, so I have to give you one definition of leadership, right? So this, I mean, I don't expect you to understand this at this time in the evening, but if you want, you can go to my Ph.D. dissertation because it's based on this definition. That up to me is the best definition up to date on leadership. It's an influence process, both visible and invisible, in a society inherited, constructed, and perceived as an interaction person, condition of inequality, and interaction measured by ethical and moral values, and by the degree of realization of intended, comprehensive, and durable change. This is done. This author, that is called James McGregor Barnes, is what we consider the founder of leadership as we know it today. And he started to work on this in the mid-70s. And this is not for academia, it's more for my students. So it's my definition. I mean, leadership is the art of achieving outstanding results through others, meanwhile you become fully yourself. It's a bit of the translation of that is extremely academic. What he wanted to say here. Again, you can send me an email, I can send you in my last chapter of my thesis, the first definition is explained. And I am going to wrap up the first part of today. We were talking about the relevance of behavioral skills. And I highlighted the relevance of trust. Now I add another element that we couldn't talk today. But when, for example, I design my program sessions in leadership, this is what I take into account to approach this behavioral skills, behavioral intelligence, we can call it. Okay. And as you see, I am talking about very deep issues, self-awareness, that we are going to talk a little now in the second part. Vision, that we couldn't talk today. Virtues, that I am going to say something also in the second part. And life balance. And there is an end. It is the main topic of the second part. In order to build the behavioral skill, we need our managers to train, to make training on these 4 aspects, and in the 5th aspect I am going to talk, because it's extremely important in the second part. This is why leadership is not a workshop task, neither a self-help book task. It implies a long, and I would say painful process with very deep change insight that goes to the very, very deep of our character. Because this is something that we cannot improvise. We need to exercise really long time until we can do it. I always like, when I speak about leadership, put the simile of a sport. Sport is a beautiful example. I am a fan of tennis, I love to play tennis, and I think tennis players, I do not say they are leaders, right? But in order to do what they are doing on the court, they have to train a lot, and they have to hit the ball, a lot of time in the forehand, the backhand. So we are talking about the same. We are talking about very intense and long time training. Now, to start the second part, I have a question. Every one of you have read the case that we sent? Yeah? Really? Do you know any person like our friend Ed in real life? Have you met any person like him? No? Yes. Who? Now don't say the name. What's the problem here?
I would say because we all know hard skills of manager or leader, he's not looking to communicate, not looking to inspire, not looking to be show the friendly side of manager, coaching side, or
The soft side. So he's more like a manager.
I would say that is not a manager, because he's more like too technical, yeah, totally lacking any leadership skills. Manager.
If you are the owner of this company, would you fire this guy? Would you put him on the street?
No, I would say just put him in an appropriate position, that he doesn't have any subordinates and then he's like a technical expert.
So is he a good manager? You are on the right point. I am challenging, okay? So, what's the problem here?
The problem is that the relationship he has with everyone, especially subordinates, like a slavery. You know what usually happens when you are in slavery. There's a rebellion coming.
So you think there are a problem of relationship, how he manage? Relationship. have here in the audience any owner of business? You. Would you care about how your managers manage their relationships, or if they really are efficient? What do you care the most? If they are efficient, or if they manage very well their relationships? And what would you do with Ed?
I would not allow him even just to try working for my company.
Why?
Because it will not be a long-term project with him. Maybe for short-term, but not for long-term.
So you think the problem is good for the short term?
Good for short-term for some specific stuff, for specific projects, but not for long-term.
Why?
Right? Because he lacks of leadership, and also his management style is not okay. He treats people like robots.
Mm-hmm.
He has no positive feedback, ability to evaluate. He don't trust people, and he only cares about his own wishes for his position, CEO.
So you think he is something that can make things happen, but he doesn't do it in the right way?
And I think that he also lacks to take a look on himself,
Mm-hmm.
lack of critique skills, and he's not willing to learn anything.
For how many years he worked for the first company, and for how many years for the second one? More or less. Was it for 1 year? Was for 2? Was for 5? 10? Even 20? What does it mean short run? How many of you have been working in a company for more than 5 years? Good. But let's see that now, I mean, it's becoming, my father worked in a Swedish company during 35 years. I could not even think. We have a contract now for 6, and for me it's like, wow, too long. So, was he a problem for the company in the long run? If he was, yeah.
Basically, I think there is no problem at all. If
No problem.
owners have basically their expectations and what they want from company, and if he can deliver a result, it doesn't make problem relationships inside company, to my mind.
Okay.
The main thing, can he keep what owners want, and is he able to deliver his result? It's the main thing.
So, that's fine. From which perspective it's good? From the company perspective.
Yes. Owners.
From the owner.
Owner.
But it's very, very questionable.
Why?
Because I know, but I really know. I think that I'm 99% sure that if he had a good relationship with his employees,
Yeah.
then I'm sure that the result he would produce would be more higher.
Well, I mean, this is a guess. We
This is a guess.
we don't know.
We don't know,
What we know is that he was effective on his position.
but again, this effectiveness, it's compared to what?
I mean, if I want to work in your company and I tell you I am going to do all what Ed has been doing, and I will produce outstanding results, I will do everything you need, and you will have money, and you can sleep, and you can go holidays, and leave me alone here, you are not going to take me in your company?
The problem with me is that I care about people. And
really bad.
Look, if you care about people, I will do money for you so you can pay the salaries and the stability.
No, it's like another.
I understand. I am challenged. So some of you that think different. You are more business oriented, right? So, which is the problem in this case? Who has a problem in this case? Who has a problem in this case? The company? Or Ed? Ed? Who really has the problem here? Baxter.
You want to go away from operational business, but you don't have anything to
I know. I have among my business cards or my colleagues, I have very good headhunter. You just pay 30% of the salary of the first year, and you have the rest coming. And if you are not satisfied with him, you have a guarantee of 6 months, and he will give you another. It's true or not? Does Baxter have a problem? Well, maybe a little. I mean, he has to work out this. I mean, something he liked this guy. He was comfortable with this guy, and now he's spoiled. I mean, he cannot continue with this. But does he really have a problem? I mean, that he cannot solve, or even that can take away his sleep? I don't think so. But Ed, does he have a problem? Which is the problem for Ed?
He actually did not feel comfortable in his position. That's why. Maybe just because of his childhoodness. He came from the very bottom, yeah, and now he has to confirm all his life that he even tried to forget, or it says, like he forgot almost where did he come from. And maybe that is also a problem, that he's trying to show that he has the poverty now, yeah? And so I'm not the one of those, like I was before.
Okay. Well, I started to give reasons to another problem that is not mentioned here. That is Ed's frustration. Could we call it in that way? He was, if I understand Lilita correctly, he was sort of self-made person, someone that's, he did himself in a way. And what can we, is it the reason? This is the reason? Is Ed a successful or an unsuccessful person? Till this point, till the board meeting.
He's successful as a person, but unsuccessful as a personality.
What's the difference?
It's the personality that's something that you have inside. And come on, the guy has real issues. He even dresses like his boss. His wife is as beautiful as the boss of the wife.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm not saying that it's right, but he's with everything he does, he tries to prove, like my colleague here just mentioned, that I'm not that guy anymore. I'm on the top of the world.
He's not okay.
Imagine Steve Jobs. He was abandoned by the parents. I don't know, didn't finish the university, and still he made all this charisma stuff and related to people. We are different.
What happened with Steve Jobs when he was fired from Apple in 1984? You remember?
He bought Pixar.
Before that.
He did that in 1986, 1987, right? What happened to Steve Jobs and that moment?
He went seriously down, and then something.
He even think to leave the Silicon Valley, right? Now, come on, guys. Which are the achievements of Ed? What did he do with his career?
Should be successful, no?
He's successful. Why he's successful?
You should achieve all you said in this company. CEO.
He is the COO. I think he's on your area, I think, right? He's a COO, but it's not. Which else? Did he need money? Make some money?
Yeah, big house, pretty good.
Big house, pretty good. Money. Has a good wife? Oh, nice.
Pretty.
You don't know, pretty.
Really can be nice.
Let's see, Esther. Can be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know.
We don't know. Okay. So we can say he got the standard American dream life.
And you actually teach us in the first part of the class that we should look on the bright side of people. Right?
Yeah.
We shouldn't do negative. He's actually a very good person. He has just a slight little bit like
Like he has bad personality, right?
a little bit some kind of, but maybe it can be
He's
changed.
not aware of
Like,
that, actually.
and maybe some small talks with psychologists will.
Small.
Or maybe
We have a psychologist there. Eh?
with you.
Okay, can Ed solve the problem talking to you?
Actually, I think that the problem maybe in his situation is not like a one-day problem, it's like his life problem. So I would say that if he would start to think about it in the starting point of his career, then maybe he would be more successful at the end. So, because I think that it was like a question of expectations. What did he expect from himself from the very beginning? And then actually it was a question of...
What he expected from the beginning?
He was expected success, but his measure of success was measurement system of his boss. And actually he probably made his personality according to his boss expectations.
The chief executive officer, right?
I would say so, yes.
But he got quite very close to that.
Yes. Yes.
So maybe he just has to change his ultimate objectives, and then he will be happy instantly.
Do you think that?
Most likely, yeah. The problem is that he wants to get on the top, so that's the problem.
So a question of objectives, a question of expectations.
I would say also flexibility and how to
He's
say
very
personal change management, because if hears that he was an ideal executive for 90s,
Yeah.
so and making his career accordingly to his boss expectations, not his own personality, he is not able to change himself according to the time expectations. So
Do you think you can change that?
I think that yes.
Yeah.
Person-
60 years old, more or less.
No,
at
but
least, or-
there is this, you know, these coaches. Have you heard about these coaches? They're coaching.
A little bit.
Yes. I mean, he hires 2 coaches. Two.
Instead of one, right? So it costs quite a amount of money.
Yeah, but they work with him.
Yeah.
Probably they can do something.
I'm not so optimistic.
About coaching or about him changing? You said something that I missed out.
I think he's not aware that he has this problem.
He's not aware.
No, he is successful, he has his AD life, and everything is fine, and everything goes as it's planned by himself. Actually, he's not aware that he misses something.
And then the board meeting happens.
But whom responsibility is this?
His boss?
His own responsibility. I mean, he needs to be aware of himself. This is his responsibility.
Only?
Himself, actually.
Only?
Yeah.
Does he have a wife?
Maybe wife, yes.
Does he have a wife?
Yeah,
No,
probably she can
himself.
Huh?
Only himself.
Only himself.
I would, but still,
Why?
he should start to interested in what is happening around.
He is not
What?
aware that there is something else going around. That
No,
he's
but
missing
if
something.
he is developing personalities, then he should be aware of what is happening. And he is responsible for his own development. That nobody is responsible. Your wife is not responsible for your development, and your boss is not responsible for your development. Only you are responsible for your development. But
But he can consult with
He
the
develops
with
himself.
wife or something.
Do you
Consult
think if
enough.
the relationship would be good between husband and wife, that the wife would not say anything to him about this?
no, they can consult and they can. But if he is not taking responsibility, then nobody can happen actually.
So you think he was irresponsible?
No, I don't agree with the wife thing. It can happen that at home, vice versa. Maybe the wife is the boss at home. We don't know that. Who said about that?
Do you believe in that? That
Well,
the wife could be the
It
boss
can be.
with this guy?
Can be. But what I'm thinking is more, he's not solely responsible for his lack of seeing his
Well,
fails.
I mean-
I think he's manager that has been
Baxter.
growing his career, his past manager, because each manager's responsibility is to develop their subordinates. So it means that the manager should see how he's managing his people. And probably it happens that Ed's manager was the same kind of a person.
Right.
He was just copying the style in the
Right.
previous company. Maybe that was a style that was appropriate there.
Right.
And that was successful because he came from the street. He doesn't know anything about how is and how is good, intelligent leadership going on.
Yeah.
So he was learning life from his
Right.
bosses, I would say.
Do you think that he never heard from his subordinates a word like you are too tough or you are you think that all this stuff that was in the back, that it never came out with him? That
It
he
can
was-
happen, but it was said that it was 80s. I think that the business, in some way, the business culture has been
yes.
changing. So in the 80s, but
Good
more, I
point.
think authoritative management style was more popular. Now it's like everybody's talking, team building, team spirit.
So
and
now people are getting
I would
it.
say, more in 90s and 21st century.
It's more. Very true. You're right. And you said something very interesting, I think, about flexibility. What do you mean about that?
I mean that he has not been so flexible to accept the change. Because we are living in the culture of change, and change are everywhere. So the business environment has been changed, the company values has been changed, his personal life and subordinates have been changed, and he didn't be. Actually, he was not so very flexible just to
Right. Why?
because of lack of behavioral traits, as you said. I think so.
You know Steve Jobs. Why he stayed in the Silicon Valley finally? I mean, he undergone the crisis, but he stayed. What happened there? What was the change there? Someone knows? Who or what was the reason that he changed his mind and he stayed and created next first and after he bought pizza? Someone knows? He has a name and a surname, and it was his wife. He met a woman. He fell in love. He said this. I mean, I'm not saying anything. And he was the reason why he stayed. And if there was a business-oriented human being in those years, it was Steve Jobs. But because he fell in love with a woman, he stayed. And they built a fantastic marriage. am not saying that the problem here is the wife. Okay, so don't put it. But did Ed always know what he wanted to have in his life? Yes or no? He wanted to have probably a CEO position, a good house, a standard American family. Did he know what he has to do to get this?
Yes.
I mean, he can stay at the company and he will be welcome to stay in pension. Right? Maybe not as a CEO, but probably the house. But I have still one more question. Did he know what he wanted to be when he was 50, 60, 70?
Yes, he knew.
What he wanted to do?
Well, he had a plan in his life, definitely.
And the planning was?
Become a manager. Obviously, he was not pleased with the position of being some middle level or something like that.
And to become a manager is here? Yeah.
I think his wish was more material. If he came from full family, more probably his want to be rich.
To have money,
Yes,
to have position,
yeah, to have material.
to have prestige. He didn't want for his kids the Brooklyn background he did have. I am not talking, he's not a bad guy. I am really fully. He's not a bad guy.
He was less, he was not enough thinking about what kind of person he wants to become, what kind of things he should have. But his personal development as a person, as a skills, what kind of skills he would like to have. How he would be, how did he want it to be perceived by others?
Let's go now. You have in your handouts these various scales. Do you? Do you? Yeah. Take 1 minute or two to choose the 7 values you think, only 7, characterize Ed the most. Which are of these values, the 7 that really describe Ed? This is Ed. Take 2 minutes. Done? Will someone volunteer wants to say the values? Yeah. And tell me the number because I don't know them by heart.
3.
Yeah, and which is the value? Ambition. Okay.
Maybe 4 or 5 down.
Okay.
Control.
Number 2? Control is 2, right?
1L.
1L.
Ah, 1. Okay.
Control. Financial safety.
Yeah.
Also circle. Logic.
Logic. Yeah.
Image.
Okay.
And 2L. Want to be appreciated.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Aman? Someone? What? No. Who was?
Number 4,
Say the value.
responsibility.
Responsibility.
Number 4, courage.
Courage. Yeah.
Number 3, ambition.
Yeah.
Number 3, reliability.
Yeah.
Number 3, efficiency.
Yeah.
Number 5, commitment.
Yeah.
And number 1, L, control.
Okay. Before we go to analyze this, are all these values positive or do we have negative values here?
And
Why it could be negative?
I mean, the value per se, it's, I think, I don't consider it to be either positive or negative, it's how you use that. So you can use that,
I mean, you can be ambitious or not. You can be...
Is it bad? Is it good?
Depending on?
Situation. That's how you react as
I
well.
mean, if you over-control, then it becomes negative.
Mhm.
But a bit to check is good.
But ambition is like
And the-
negative.
Ambitious is not negative, right?
And the level of where it's okay and where it's overdone depends on the situation, on the organization, on the people,
On the situation or on the person?
on the situation. That's
This is a very good debate, and I don't think we are going to have a time, but this is a good point. Let me give you an example. As a professor, if I have the value of being appreciated very high, I will suffer a lot all my life. Because I will all the time thinking, oh, what? I mean, this guy, he didn't like me, right? So he's going to put a 1 in the feedback form. And the other, that, I mean, if I am all the time, thinking on how the people perceive me, I just get depressed and I never enjoy what I am doing. So I have to train my value in a way that is I have also to think how the people perceive me because I have to improve. So I have to go to the feedback forms, see what they are writing, and this is how I learn. That difference obsession with this. Someone that is obsessive with that cannot be here because we get crazy. So you have to get into the middle in a way. This is not the right word to use. But what you are saying is, I think, is the value has to be on the right level. What we have seen here before that, do you make a link with some theory on human resources and motivation? Here? Do you have a connection with Maslow?
good. That also is different kind of
leadership approaches as well.
Right. This is not Maslow. This is a follow-up of Maslow. We cannot get into the discussion on why I don't use Maslow, I use this. Okay? There are reasons. Okay? But it is based on Maslow. I mean, the precedent is Maslow. And Maslow is very good. Okay? We have 7 types of motivations. That we can say that the first 3 layers are connected with self-interest. And the higher ones, in a general way we can call, are addressed to common good. What we see in a case like Ed, and we see many, many business people, because it's what the market demands, is that we focus here. Actually, we focus on selfishness. What is not a problem to be a bit selfish, but it doesn't mean that we don't have to do. I am not going on today to talk on this, though it is it's one of the topics we work a lot on leadership. The problem is we don't transcend that. If there is one assumption that is wrong in capitalism, is that economy grows based on selfishness. This is completely wrong. There is not basis, not empirical evidence to speak about that. And Peter Drucker, the father of management, he said, if there is a profit motive on the behavior of people, it's really doubtful. If you look at the people and you think, your employees, your managers, that they are simply homo economicus, you never could manage people. Never ever. Why? Because the person that is on the office does not have only profit, is not only a profit seeker. I mean, you have always orangutans. I mean, you always have some people that just go for the money. I met some of them, but really are really very few those that are those extremes. The general, the average, is people that more or less are here. The problem with this, and then this is the second topic of the day today, is that with people that are just moving in self-interest and a little bit above that, you cannot create outstanding companies. Never. Never ever. As today you have been talking about it. If there is not a greater purpose, a greater mission, you never get that. You never create a company that is going to be long-time profitable and sustainable. There is no way. And the same with a career. And this is why the Eds lack flexibility. Why? Because his objective was to have and to do. Then, if that goes down, what? Come on guys, I went through 2 big crises already. The Argentinian crisis in 2001, I was consultant and working there in business education as well. And here in Latvia as well in 2008. And I have seen many people going up and down, and people becoming millionaire and cracking in a couple of months later. And you see everything, right? And the person that has higher values can continue. He can continue. He has something called resilience. That is the ability to not support, but overcome obstacles and challenges and wars and resilience. This guy, one of my my favorite cases. His name, Jean-Marie Messier. He was one of the star CEO in business. He was the CEO of Vivendi International. He has been in many boards of world famous companies. Till one day he was put in jail. And he wrote a book called G6M.com before going to jail. That in French, and I don't speak French, and this way I am going to write that in the whiteboard. It meant Jean-Marie Messier, Meme Maitri Lumon. It means Jean-Marie Messier, myself, the master of the world. I was the master, like Eve. I was the master of my life. I was the master of my career. And MBA was a conference that was delivered in Davos in 2004, where they addressed, it was the conference that most people actually attended, and where they actually were talking about this attitude of showing up. We have to show up. We have to show we have money. We have to show our business card, our standard wife and our standard kids, and our weak tennis serve. MBA. The problem with this, and this is why a person like this and person like that, you went exactly to the point. Lack self-awareness. That is exactly the very beginning of everything in leadership. Especially to know the why I am doing what I am doing. So it's very important to know our strengths, it's very important to know our weaknesses, but it is even more important to know why. This is one of the most famous authors. He wrote a book called Man's in Search of Meaning. He was a Jew, he was in Auschwitz, he was a psychiatrist, and he created what is called the Third School of Vienna. And for many people, he replaced Freud as the most important, most influential psychiatrist in the 20th century. And let's read this statement. Don't aim at success. The more you aim at it and make it a target, the more you are going to miss it. For success, like happiness, cannot be pursued. It must ensue. And it only does so as the unintended side effect of one's personal dedication to a cause greater than oneself, or as the byproduct of one's surrender to a person other than oneself. You know, happiness must happen, and the same holds for success. You have to let it happen and not carry about it. then you will live to see that in the long run, I say success will follow you precisely because you had forgotten to think of it. He created a school called Logotherapy School. And that is one of the most influential schools on management and leadership. What he did, meanwhile he was in the concentration camp, being a psychiatrist, he was studying how the people were reacting when they got into the concentration camp, when they were in danger of going to the chamber of gas, when they knew that they lost their dearest people, when they were, by getting out from the concentration camp. And then he went to the point. A person that has meaning is a person that can do whatsoever. And then he said, for me was my wife. She was dead at that time already, but he didn't know that. But he said, in some moment when it was very hard for me to continue, suddenly my wife appeared, and I was talking to her in a way. I was talking to her and sharing with her, and getting back home and seeing her, and she was the person that kept me alive in my concentration camp. Then he developed, when he got out from the concentration camp, thanks to God, and he became free, and he lived many years. And he created that school. But the question here is the question of why. Why? To finish, I will put you a little video. I will mention the previous slide because it's important. There is a school called Positive Psychology School, and it's based in the University of Virginia. And they have been doing a research, around 15 researchers from all over the world during 3 years, studying all the classical books of all the big tradition of the history of humanity. Taoism, Hinduism, Judeo-Christianism, all the big, Confucianism, of course, trying to find what is common when they were thinking about meaning. What has been common in all this tradition in the history of humanity? We are talking about 3,000 years of human history and experience. I don't know if it was too good or was too bad. And then they found these 6 characteristics: wisdom, courage, love, justice, temperance, spirituality, and trustworthiness. So they developed a series of tests that are for free. And you can access to the website, and if someone of you is interested in that, you can email me and I will send you a link. How to test you, and I do it with my students. How to test you in these issues, to understand the weight of the meaning of your life and how they are incorporated in your everyday life. It's called, this project, Values in Action, and at this moment is the top projects in terms of, one of the top projects in terms of business. The top leading schools are using this because it's an excellent instrument. And Steve Jobs, you can back him. Once he was asked about which are the keys for success. And I think what he's going to say in 1 minute and 30 seconds, better than you did, but I think goes to the same idea. Meaning and behavioral skills.
People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing. And it's totally true. And the reason is because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up. It's really hard. And you have to do it over a sustained period of time. So if you don't love it, if you're not having fun doing it, you don't really love it, you're going to give up. And that's what happens to most people, actually. If you really look at the ones that ended up, being successful, unquote, in the eyes of society, and the ones that didn't, oftentimes it's the ones that are successful love what they did so they could persevere when it got really tough. And the ones that didn't love it quit because they're sane, right? Who would want to put up with this stuff if you don't love it? So it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of worrying constantly. And if you don't love it, you're going to fail. So you got to love it. You got to have passion. And I think that's the high order bit. The second thing is you've got to be a really good talent scout, because no matter how smart you are, you need a team of great people, and you've got to figure out how to size people up fairly quickly, make decisions without knowing people too well, and hire them, and see how you do, and refine your intuition, and be able to help build an organization that can eventually just build itself, because you need great people around you. So these two elements on leadership as essentials. That is what we have been seeing today in our class. You got the idea. One is passion, mission, meaning. You have to love it. And you need a greater view and an objective that is greater than the immediate and untouchable objective of leaders. Plus, you need to know how to deal with people, and this is the first part, the behavioral skills.